This is the kind of damage that they cause. Welcome back to the continuing saga of trying to turn this place into a suburban homestead. Today I'm going to deal with some pestilence that I have. The first one are the Japanese beetles. And we can see, I think you can see this on the camera. The glare is making it really hard, but you can see one of our little friends here. And this is the kind of damage that they cause. Sort of all into my green beans. This is a common problem. Every time I've ever grown them, this will happen. It took huge chunks out of here, and here's a little green grasshopper booger. I'm just gonna squish him. Sorry. There's another friend there. We're gonna get him in just a moment. You can see the kind of damage that they cause, and you'll find them on here. One will be eating and the other one will be on top of it, trying to mate with it as it eats. Let me show you what I've been doing while I was waiting for my final solution to come. I've been plucking them off one by one as best as I can, and I've made a little cup of tea here. You can see it's full of the little boogers. But that's not efficient. You can't get them all. Although I have gotten quite a few. They're being attracted here, and which is why I finally was able to get some Japanese beetle traps. Everybody is having the same problem, so you couldn't find them in the stores. I had to buy some stuff online, and I've hung the trap right about there. It's kind of hard. I can't tell if I'm pointing to it or not. But that's about 60 feet away. Hopefully that'll be far enough away to eventually attract them over there. I'm going to get on here and pick these others off here in just a moment, and just not wait for them to find that. So pardon me just for a moment. Well, the only problem with these traps is I find that despite the fact that they say it lasts for 8 weeks, you only really get a good 1 or 2 weeks out of it. The other thing that's a problem is once they find this wonderful source of food, they don't want to leave it, even though there might be a stronger smell luring them over there of even more hormones and even more of a floral smell. So I may need to move it a little bit closer just to slowly pull them away and violate the 30-foot rule that they say to use when hanging up the trap. We'll see. I'm going to give them about 30 minutes to start finding it. The wind is blowing from that direction, so it should be blowing the lure out to where they are and possibly pulling them back in. While we wait to see how effective that'll be, let's look at our other pestilence that we have to address today. For that, we're going to need to go to our zucchini, and this is honestly something that should have been put on here a long time ago, but I think I'm starting to see signs of squash borers. It's kind of hard to tell because as these vines grow and get bigger, they just naturally start to split. There's some spots like that in a few other places on a few of my other vines, and I want to get ahead of the game and go ahead and put some things on here to get rid of or stop the potential for any squash borers. What I'm going to be using for that is a commercial product called Dipel. Folks will call it BT many times. That's the generic name, and the BT stands for Bacterius thuringiensis. I think I'm saying that correct. It's basically it's bacteria in a powdery form. You can spread it on your plants and it will kill the larva of these squash borers. Doesn't kill the bumblebees. The bumblebees, if they happen to take it back, which it shouldn't be on your blossoms anyway, you should put it around your base of your vines. But if the bumblebees or the honeybees, should say, take it back to the hive, they're not going to kill all the larvae back in there. So I'm going to put that generously around my my vines here, the base of my vines, and just sort of keep that on there because, you know, watering is going to wash that off naturally, etc. That's how we're going to handle the pestilence problem. I'm going to apply this. I'll show you what I mean. We'll give that trap a little bit longer to see if it starts making itself useful. Let's just see how it goes. Let me show you the Dipel, and then we'll go check on our trap. You can see all the white powdery stuff. That ain't gonna hurt nothing but the things it's supposed to hurt, so that's good. Won't hurt us as humans. Very generously applied it along those vine stalks. Now, if you see that you've already got a place where they've bored in, if you catch it early enough, you can actually cut into that vine and find that little larva, that little grub, and dig him out, and your problem is solved. But you know, it's still good to go ahead and apply this even after that to kill any future ones. Let's go see our trap. Of course, I'm following unsafe knife rules here as I walk around with this open blade. Let me stop and close that. Okay, much better. Now here's the trap. I got it hanging in the tree, and it's not attracting anything yet. I'm impatient. I'm gonna hang it closer to the garden to try to attract them over there. Okay, here's the new place I've hung it. It's still pretty close to the garden, but I just want to kind of pull them away. I don't think it'll attract them to the garden. You can see how close it is. From the beams, closest point, 15 to 20 feet. We're going to go with that though. We'll see how it goes. It's always a learning lesson. I kind of wish I'd had this thing up beforehand. So we wouldn't be dealing with that. We'll see how some things go. Well guys, hanging the trap here is definitely working. There's a lot of activity around it. I've seen several bugs to fly in, and I can see them coming now. So cool, I'm excited about it. It is a little closer to the garden, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to pull them away from the garden. Maybe I can eventually move it farther away from the garden. But as I stand here, and this camera is not going to pick this up, I can see the beetles flying from a couple of 100 feet away. But of course I can't see them at that, but I can tell they're coming from a great distance once I can get a glimpse of them in the sun. We're going to call this a success. Yay. That about wraps it up. We're going to call this a success. We're pulling the Japanese beetles away and we're catching them. So both of those are good things. Do me a favor, will you go down and give this thing a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, maybe even share it with somebody. While you're down there, if you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up with all of the trials and tribulations, successes and failures of turning this place into my suburban homestead. Most importantly, always remember, the one who created you made you able to create also. So get out there and make it, grow it, and live it.